Let me show you a model to study. Some of us have been studying that for quite some time now. The Lord pointed to us three major models that we should study. Of course, one of them is the people of Israel, the Jewish people, the nation of Israel. Please put up First Peter chapter 2, verse 9. I want us to all read it together. 1 to go. Are you there? 1 to go. But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that you should show forth the praises of him who has called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. That's the church. The first time this promise was given, it was given to the Jews. This is the second time it's coming into force. When God made the old covenant with the Jews, he gave them the same promise. Get me a Bible there. Find where God said, you are a special people to me. I did not love you because you are greater and stronger than other people of the earth. But the man on the projector, you're going to show them where this was quoted. This Peter, in the third month, okay, from verse 4, you have seen, this is when he brought them out of Egypt. They came to Mount Sinai, so God was about to initiate a covenant with Israel. This is what he told them. You have seen what I did unto the Egyptians. You know, he destroyed them in the Red Sea, divided the whole sea. It's because he's keeping covenant. How I bear you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Verse 5. Now, therefore, if you will obey my voice, indeed, and keep my covenants, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all the people, for all the earth is mine. So that's what Peter was quoting. You are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a peculiar people. And this is exactly what God wants to do with you guys, ladies and gentlemen. You will be a peculiar people, treasure unto me above all the people on the earth. For all the earth is mine. Verse 6. You shall be unto me a kingdom of priests. That's what Peter was now calling royal priesthood. And a holy nation. You see, the church is a nation. And a holy nation. These are the words you shall speak to them. And on the basis of that, if you read that chapter to chapter 20, you see how he cut covenant with the whole nation. So one more time, have you found it? Yes, read it. From what verse? Deuteronomy 7 from verse 6. Okay, put it up. Let Pastor Ben read it. I want you guys to see.
For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Go ahead.
The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor choose you because you were more in number than any people, for you were the fewest of all people.
You are talking about the Jewish phenomenon. There is a covenant that is undergirding that and that is behind that, whatever. Days are coming, they are going to write about the Dominion City phenomenon. Nobody will be able to explain what is going on. Some people will end up thinking maybe we are printing money from bank or whatever. They won't be able to explain it. To have a place where the blessing works. Yes, go ahead.
But because the Lord loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he has sworn unto your fathers.
All these blessings, everything he's doing, because he has to keep that covenant he signed with Abraham. And today, because he has to keep the covenant he signed with Jesus. Yes, go ahead.
Had the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the land of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Know therefore that the Lord thy God, he is God, the faithful God, which keepeth covenant and mercy.
Everybody know this one for sure. That the person we're dealing with, the Almighty God, is a faithful God who keeps covenant. And he keeps mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments up to how many generations? 1,000 generations. If you will walk with God, this thing will affect your children's children. A time is coming, they will be prospering, but they won't even know why. You talk about generational blessing. Yes. Yes, go ahead.
And repaired them that hate him to their face, to destroy them.
Repay them that hate him to them. That's when people break covenant with God, there are serious consequences to destroy them. And he will not be slack to him that hates him. He will repay him to his face. Verse 11, yes?
Thou shalt therefore keep the commandments and the statutes and the judgments which I command thee this day to do them.
This is an apostolic work that Moses was doing here. He was laying a foundation for the greatness of Israel, for their future. And he was showing them that covenant, making and walking in covenant is the key. You will produce the brightest professors. You will produce the brightest inventors. You will produce the wealthiest people in the land. You will produce the best in every field of endeavor. That's how the story of this ministry will be. But watch, yes, go ahead.
Wherefore, it shall come to pass, if you hearken to these judgments and keep and do them.
Watch some of the blessings that are going to follow, yes?
That the Lord thy God shall keep unto thee the covenant and the mercy which he has sworn unto thy fathers.
Yes.
And he will love thee and bless thee and multiply thee. He will also bless the fruit of thy womb and the fruit of thy land, the corn and wine and the oil, the increase of thy kind and the flocks of thy sheep, in the land which he swore unto thy fathers to give thee.
Yes.
Thou shalt be blessed above all people. There shall not be male or female barren among you or among your cattle.
You will be blessed above all people. This is what produced the America that we're all celebrating today. When those pilgrims were laying the foundation of covenant and making it and laying a foundation to build a nation on righteousness and principles of justice and human dignity. This is where he landed them. They now have a generation now who don't know where they are coming from. And they are trying to destroy everything. That's what produced the Great Britain. This is the foundation for what you call the Jewish phenomenon. You shall be blessed above all people. Did you see the other one? There will be no male or female barren among you, not even your animals. Go ahead, yes?
And the Lord will take away from thee all sickness, and will put none of the evil diseases of Egypt, which thou knowest, upon thee, but will lay them upon all them that hate thee. And thou shalt consume all the people which the Lord thy God shall deliver.
Okay, we can stop there. Thank you, sir. Let me explain a secret to you guys. Not many people understand this. When I began to understand it, I cried a lot and I repented a lot. because I didn't know that that was the plan God had for the church. Pastor Ben, the word church is from the Greek word ecclesia. Ecclesia. Jesus was not the one that invented the word. He found a word that was already being used that defines what he was about to build and picked it so that anybody who wants to understand what he's trying to build will check what this means at that present time and he will understand it. Ecclesia was a word that was being used within the Greek people who invented that in the Greek culture. And then the Romans borrowed it from them. Ecclesia is a ruling class. First of all, they are selected. Today we say elected. This is why, please write what I'm about to say now. There is a word used to describe God's people throughout the Bible. They are called God's elect. What it means is that God did not wait for election, human election, to pick you. He himself sovereignly called you to himself. The reason you keep hearing all these statements, you will be blessed above all the people on earth, is that the Jewish people was an ecclesia. God went, first of all, in the midst of the nations of the world that were worshiping different gods and picked a people and separated them for himself. They were an ecclesia. They came to their estate by divine election because it wasn't Abraham that called God. It was God that appeared to Abraham and called him and then initiated a marriage, a covenant between him and Abraham and his descendants. And Jesus kept making that point clear that you did not choose me. I chose you. I called you and ordained you that you should go and bring forth fruit. I have been in church and even been a pastor for years without understanding the full import of what the church meant to the Father. Ecclesia is a group of people that are selected out, either by the emperor or whatever, or by election. And they are brought out to form a community whose job is to provide governance, direction for the whole society. Ecclesia is God's governing body on the earth. That original mandate that was given to Adam to have dominion is now entrusted with ecclesia. That is the privilege the Jewish people enjoyed. So the calling to be an ecclesia, a called out people, a holy nation, a peculiar people, a people of God, has tremendous privileges. They are going to produce the wisest people on earth, the richest people on earth. Like all these things that you are now reading about, Solomon and all that, is the natural thing. They will have the most intellectual, the greatest inventors. And this is what is following the Jewish people. If you have not read that book, The Jewish Phenomenon, read, or the one that I published. In every field of human endeavor, they are the ones excelling on top. There are privileges, tremendous blessings that go with that calling. And this is exactly when God initiated a new covenant through his son Jesus Christ. He also created an ecclesia in the New Testament. Every covenant, each of those two covenants that God has made, bettered for him an ecclesia. When you pray that prayer, do it again. Start with me. You see, God in every generation must have a Noah, an Enoch, an Abraham, a David, a Solomon, a Joseph, a Daniel, an Esther. And the people that end up making what is called the remnant, the ecclesia, are these ones that make and keep covenant with him. Then he will bless them and set them apart and use them to demonstrate his wisdom, his power, his glory. Use them to demonstrate his kindness on the earth. The only thing God is discussing with me now is how to move you guys to that place. Move Dominion City to that place. God needs a church on the earth. God needs an ecclesia on the earth. God needs a called out people, a holy nation, a people that walk in covenant. Let him use them to teach the world who he is. He said that our mandate is that we might show forth the praises of him that has called us out of darkness into his marvelous light. But being an ecclesia has certain responsibilities. Pastor Ben, you live different from the world. You are counterculture. While love becomes the binding factor and covenant, righteousness becomes the moral principles. It's a people that will do what is right in the sight of God. God needs a people that will pursue the cause of justice, the cause of righteousness on the earth. People who will make clean cuts with iniquity. People he will use to demonstrate compassion, to demonstrate kindness to one another. They have to first learn to demonstrate it in their community, that holy nation. And then they become example to all the people of the earth. Ecclesia is a people God has called to use them to show the rest of the world what the light looks like. Joining them is like walking away from darkness into light. You know, here in Africa, you guys watching from around the world, you know, everybody here wants to run to the US. Everybody wants to escape to the West. What is attracting people to the West, the prosperity, the opportunities, was created when those nations made covenant to walk in the ways of God. Amazingly, the evening is beginning to set on US, and night has set on Europe. And the Africans are still being attracted by the material prosperity when the values that created it are gone. What we need to do is to build it here. The same God is rich unto all that call upon his name in truth. God is no respecter of persons. He's the God of the whole earth. Wherever he finds a people that will be his people, that will keep covenant with him and with one another, he will make them a showcase on the earth. God said, I should come and give you his deal, whether you'll be willing to sign a deal with him. Let him have the opportunity to show Nigeria and show Africans what he can do. That covenant must be vertical and it must be horizontal. Any of the side must not be missing. Let me just say one or two things on the horizontal side. Do you know I brought a group of our brothers together just a couple of weeks ago, put them together and taught them some of these things. And they came together in agreement to walk in covenant with each other. One of them sent me some significant amount of money. I don't want to say anything about that. Just 3 weeks after I had left that city, I had gone. Do you know what he told me? He said, you have set into motion something that if our people understand what it will lead to. He walks into an office, is pursuing a contract. And the people that will decide his fate are seated, and he walks in to make his proposal. And here is a covenant brother seated among those that will decide his fate. So the guy, when he saw how his proposal was going, called for a little break. Let's allow for a break. Let's get some tea and drink. Just 10, 15 minutes. Then we'll resume. Then we can let this young man finish. He didn't do like he knew him or anything. Then they call for a break, and he tells the guy, gives him a sign to meet him at the toilet. And he said, you don't know me? He said, I don't know you. He said, I'm your brother. I'm part of. He said, this is what we're looking for. This document. Add it. Do this. Just hit this. You will collect the thing. That's how he walked away with 800 million job. This is just the horizontal part. Before we start talking about the vertical. What God will release. But let's even talk about what will come out from the power of synergy. What will happen here in the next 2 years, in the next 3 years, when we understand this. Because where this man is, every job opportunity that comes there, he pushes it over. Who are the people within the brotherhood that have the skills, that have what they come and collect it? And where I am, every opportunity, contracts, because I can't do that. If I do it, it's corruption. But I give it to you, it's not corruption. You open up doors, they come and get it. And this one is governor. He has roads, he has all that. Stop stealing money. You don't need to push it to the brotherhood. Make sure that you're grooming professional competencies in construction, in everything. They come and do it. How can you, when you leave office, be poor? How can you? Because covenant is mutually a benefit. That's how the Ogbuelis have been ruling our country. You don't know what has been going on. It is on the underground war that they decide the fate of everybody in this country. It's not majority that rules. It's a small group that gets themselves organized that rule. Any small group of people that get themselves organized are the ones that rule the majority. You see what God was telling the Jews is not that because you are more in number, you are the fewest, smallest, 0.2 of world population, 0.02%, yet controlling the world economy. It's covenant. It's covenant. Another guy opens up and tells me, he said, I've hit over 2 billion jobs, projects, by just tapping just a small clique of relationship among the brethren. This contract is here. They call me and say, come and do it. And because in covenant, you don't take advantage of each other. After the guy has done the job, he said, but Pastor, I will be honest with you. After, I also make sure I go and greet him. The right hand washes left hand washes right hand. We need to create a culture of covenants and start living it. What it will lead to. 1 shall chase 1,000, and 2, 10,000. Anytime you see opportunities, think your brethren. Anytime you see, think your brethren. Don't sit down where things are flowing and you forget that you are not just there for yourself. You are there for him and you are there for your brethren. When God elevates you, stop thinking it's just you. Use that elevation to move a lot of people up. You will rule the world. Everybody lift up your hands. Can we give God the ecclesia? He will show us things in this age. He said, the mountain of the Lord's house shall be exalted above the mountains, and all nations shall flow into it. Give God the ecclesia. He will show you things that your mind cannot. That's what God is looking for. The second coming of the church. The rebirth of the church. The rebirth of authentic priesthood and authentic church. That's what he's looking for in the last days. He calls it a glorious church without spot or wrinkle. Heart like yours is what I'm watching for. Full of compassion. Give me a heart like yours. Let's sing it again. A heart like yours is my desire. A heart like yours is what I'm searching for.